Welcome to those of you who just joined to the Kitsap Housing and Homelessness Coalition meeting. And I just want to let you know we have a community builder that I'm hoping that you can populate in the chat. I'm looking for unique holiday dinner dishes. And the weirder, or some might even argue like not tasty, but only good to your family, put that in the chat. I have an idea for something in my family, but sometimes there's some unique dishes out there that you've married into maybe, or that were your family's all through your growing up. So let's see what kind of cool foods we're gonna eat in the upcoming months. And we'll get started at 2:05.
We talked about last time was looking at nailing down our KPIs for this group, our key performance indicators, as well as just discussing some general data points that we felt were important for us to get a baseline on, to be able to kind of consider the direction that this group wants to move in, our focus in terms of.
I'm just going to let you know that someone who is speaking currently is not on mute, and they might want to be. All right, and welcome to those of you who just joined to the Kitsap Housing and Homelessness Coalition meeting. We're going to get started in just a couple of minutes. My name is Lisa Lechuga. I am the current chair. We're so glad to have you today. And then the slide that you were seeing as you enter the room, just follow the instructions. If you have any agency updates, we'll do that at the end. We also have a small community builder as well. And just thanks again for everyone for being here. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. Welcome, everyone. It's officially 2:05. Welcome to the Kitsap Housing and Homelessness Coalition meeting. It's our last one of the year. We have a small community builder. We've got a big group today. It's so funny letting everybody in the meeting. We have almost 60 people here today. I'm hoping that the topic will be timely and relevant. We're kind of focusing on shelter updates. Even if you aren't specifically on the agenda, like if you have any information or work for a shelter, like I will make sure to invite you to share any update that pertains to that topic. Our community builder, for those of us who just joined, and if you want to participate, you can put it in the chat. But I'm asking you to share your name, your agency in the chat. and a unique holiday dinner, main course, side dish, or dessert that is traditionally served in your family. The weirder, the better. That's just my request. It doesn't have to be weird. It can also just be delicious to you as well.
And Lisa, I think you made Jill a co-host and not me. I was trying to figure that out.
Jill, are you ready for that? Let me change it over here. Sorry.
I want to help, but I don't see how I can see that.
Okay.
There we go.
Thank you. All right. Welcome everyone. I'm going to start off with the coalition's vision, mission, and values. And so our vision is that every person in our community has a safe, decent, stable, and appropriate home. Our mission is that the Kitsap Housing and Homelessness Coalition provides leadership to end homelessness through planning, coordination among social service providers, advocacy, and education. And our values are that we strive to carry out our mission with respect, commitment, compassion, integrity, and a willingness to change. With that said, Marwan, are you with us today from Gather Together, Grow Together? I don't see him on the list. I just want to acknowledge that Marwan's podcast, The Conduit, typically records the Housing and Homelessness Coalition meetings and
I am
posts
here.
them. Oh, yay, Marwan. Sorry, my screen is full and I'm not seeing everyone. So thank you for being here and for always helping us to make our meetings more accessible and transparent to the larger community. So Marwan is recording. You can find all of our meetings on the podcast, The Conduit. I also want to introduce myself and the executive team. My name is Lisa Lechuga. I'm the current chair. I also work for the Kitsap Regional Library. I'm the downtown Bremerton location manager. Our vice chair is Katie Sharp with the Bremerton Housing Authority. Can you give everyone a wave? There's Katie. She does a lot of amazing work, which you'll hear more about later. And then Emily Larson here today taking notes. She's one of our interim secretaries. She dove in after Priya transitioned out. Thank you, Emily, for being here and for supporting the coalition. Dana Emily is also an interim secretary. She's been supporting us the last couple of months, and I want to acknowledge how much we appreciate her support as well. That is the executive team, but we are actually a broader team than the positions assigned on that team. So Bridget Glasspool, if you could give a wave to everyone. Bridget's been serving on the coalition for quite some time and also advises on the executive team and gives a lot of her knowledge and time to this work. Leif Wagner, there you are. Thank you for waving from Kitsap Mental Health. Leif is the person who manages and sustains the Kitsap Housing and Homelessness website and also advises on the executive team. John Nickerson, if you happen to be here, give a wave. I don't see him. He's been advising on behalf of Kitsap Community Resources. And of course, Carl Borg, can you give a wave to everyone? So Carl is the program manager of the county's Housing and Homelessness Division. Carl does a lot of behind the scenes work. He's also for the coalition, in front of the scenes work for the county. Lots of advice and budgeting. So thank you to that team for helping these meetings happen and for all the work that the coalition does to happen too. All right, we're gonna do a formality. I've got some notes here from the last meeting in October, which was quite powerful. We had Superintendent James Crawford present. We also had Rock the Block present. I'm gonna share my screen and those notes, and I'm asking for 2 of you members to move to approve the notes. And so I will show them here. Hopefully you can see them. I tend to make my fonts really small, so.
I move to approve the notes. Maria Fergus.
Thank you, Maria. Do I have a second?
I second Timothy.
Thank you, Martita. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing there. And I'm gonna give you a preview now of today's agenda. Okay, and again, let me enlarge this. Okay, so today it's all about shelters, folks. It's getting into the winter months, and so we have some updates on the agenda from Salvation Army, Kitsap Rescue Mission, and if you have additional updates and you would like to share, I will invite you to do that at that time as we talk about shelters. City of Bremerton staff, specifically Katie Ketterer, who's the project manager of the City of Bremerton, is seeking input in regards to the shelter they are planning for the Public Works facility on Oyster Bay Avenue. So we'll learn more about that. And hopefully her team will get to get input from all of you. It's also the holiday season. So if the coalition has any updates on winter resources, holiday donation drives and events for kids, like that would be the time to share that important information. We have a Project Connect planning team that has been busy for the last few months, preparing for that very important resource fair that occurs in January. So we'll give a brief update on that. The county's Division of Housing and Homelessness also has a spot to provide some updates. And then last, we've got executive team, Housing and Homelessness Coalition executive team announcements. As I mentioned earlier, for those of you who just joined, we are not having a December meeting. So this is the last one for the winter, and then we'll start up again in January, third Wednesday, 2 p.m. Via Zoom. And then, of course, agency updates. So now you know all the fun and good things that we're going to be talking.
Can I make a housekeeping note before we start the community builder?
Absolutely.
I know today a lot of links were forwarded, which is great, but because this meeting requires registration, when a link gets forwarded, it gets a name attached to it. So if you had a link forwarded to you, just update your name. So when Lisa reads off the community builder, she has the right name. So just to let you know. Yeah.
Katie, when we do the Project Connect update, I might have you, if you could put that link in the chat when we talk about it, just so like people know, like that's the way to sign up to be a vendor.
Oh, for a vendor? Oh, I was talking more about just the registration link. It got a name attached. So when they chat, it looks like it's from somebody else. So, yeah, so when you read the community builder, just look out for that. But I know there's a lot of chats in there, so I just want to let you know too. So.
These meetings are getting so big. I thought I cracked the code on like, we do these community builders. I know you guys are dying to just jump into the content, but it's important to relate to each other as humans. And I thought I figured out a shortcut, but now our meetings are getting so big. So we're just going to have to do our best. And this is important. It's food, folks. All right. So Katie from the Bremerton Housing Authority, she says that her food is her daughter must have cranberry fluff, which is cranberry sauce, Cool Whip marshmallows, and crushed pineapple. All right. It's got all the sweetness. It's got to be delicious.
Yes, and for some reason we only make it during the holidays. So I'm kind of glad too. So it's a special treat. We don't need it all year. So
you can't eat that every day. It's got to be a holiday food. All right, Leah Nolden from the county's Housing and Homelessness Division always looks forward to eating tamales and pumpkin empanadas. Yummy. Robin Lund from Kitsap Rescue Mission. She says she's responsible for the green bean casserole with onion crinkles on the top. Yum, a classic. Let's see, Olivia Durrell with Helpline House on Bainbridge is from New Orleans, so multiple dishes come to mind, but she doesn't know which ones are unique. I'm guessing if you're from New Orleans, there's some like a good like Cajun spices going on, or at least I will imagine. Andrea Harris from Kitsap PCAP. Green bean casserole that everyone seems to think is yucky. Let's get a quick show. If you like green bean casserole, put your thumbs up, just so Andrea knows she's not alone in that dish. All right. Thanks, folks. Anna Mockler, Bremerton City Council, loves latkes. Yes, delicious. I like those all throughout the year. I'm glad that you have them for holidays. Let's see. Chuck Zvack is here. Thank you for being here. Chala Gray from AmeriCorps Group, Washington. Favorite dish is broccoli casserole. Broccoli, 3 cheeses covered in stovetopped and baked. That sounds really good. Dina Pearson from Bremerton Housing Authority, blackberry dumplings. Yum, that sounds wonderful too. Katie from the city of Bremerton, oyster dressing, which includes Ritz crackers, canned oysters, and butter. It's not for her, but it's in her family. I'm sure we all have things that we prefer not to eat when we have these like family and friend gatherings too. Thanks so much for being here, Katie. Jason from Kitsap Aging and Long-Term Care, maple glazed sweet potatoes are his favorite. Thanks for being here. Katie Trammell from Bremerton School District is here. Thanks for being here. Carl is here. Thank you. Superintendent James Crawford is here. Sausage stuffing. Sounds delicious. Bridget Glasspool still using her grandma's recipe for her delicious stuffing. Madison from Kitsap Homes of Compassion, cranberry sauce bars. Ooh, that sounds good, Madison. If I see you at yoga, I might dig in a little bit more to that. Morgan from Bremerton Housing Authority. Let's see. She makes for the extended weekend, not specifically for Thanksgiving, but naca tamales. They freeze well and you can eat them through the year. Yes. What is naca tamales? What is the difference between tamales and naca tamales?
So there's the stuffing is different. The masa is made differently. It has bitter orange in it. They're from Nicaragua.
Oh, cool. Do you make them with the banana leaves?
I do, yeah. I get them from a store here. They're difficult to find, but you have to get the banana leaves and heat them up, make them pliable. It's real fun.
Yum. I did have an amazing banana leaf tamale in Veracruz once. It blew my mind, but
Did it have pork in it?
I think it was
Raisins?
chicken. It was cool. I was in the middle of nowhere on the beach and this woman came up with and just blew my mind. It's one of my best food memories of my life. It was an amazing tamale, which you guys, everyone knows that happens with tamales, just saying they're out there. Thank you for sharing that, Morgan. Okay, Carisha from Bremerton Housing Authority. Her favorite dish is her madre's mac and cheese. Delicious. Mark Boatwright, my buddy from the library. Thank you for being here. I miss you. I will have an update on the library later this meeting. Emily Larson, our secretary. She loves a good sweet potato casserole. That sounds very comforting. Yum. Helen Havens, longtime coalition member. Many of our family are vegetarians, so we have nut loaf and mushroom gravy for our harvest meal together. It sounds wonderful. Thank you for being here, Helen. Odessa Kauai Olympic College, pumpkin crunch on shortbread base. Ooh, that sounds delightful. Jill Stanton, Bremerton Housing Authority. They don't always make it for the actual holiday dinner, but have at some point her mom's tuna casserole, which she now makes. Thank you, Jill, for being here. Garrett Jackson from the city of Bremerton. Family members making homemade eggnog with mixed results. I know it's a egg-based food. I think it could go either way. Do you imbibe and put rum in your eggnogs for your family? Yes, Garrett's giving me a nod. Yeah, of course, Lisa. The holidays. John Gustafson, spinach balls. You will get the recipe. Everybody loves them. It sounds good. It sounds like on the healthier side of Thanksgiving, but I'm wondering if it's loaded with butter and lots of fattening things. I'm getting like a little nod and chuckle from John, so I think maybe it's got more than just spinach. Thank you so much for being here, John. Leif Wagner, Kitsap Mental Health. Panakake. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Can you help me?
It's Panaquaka.
Panakaka. Okay. I was feeling shy to say it in the proper pronunciation, but there you go. It sounds delicious. Swedish pancakes baked to raise in a cast iron pan. It sounds wonderful. And I'm just so glad that you're here, as always. Alexa Hamilton with Kitsap PCAP. Her family enjoys a lot of Middle Eastern dishes at their holiday gatherings. Dolmas, hummus, baklava. I agree.
And I think we skipped over Joanne.
Oh no, Joanne.
Legal Services, and she says her family always has smoked salmon as part of their Thanksgiving dinner. So thank you, Joanne.
Yum. Thanks for being here, Joanne. And thanks, Katie, for helping me to read the chat properly. Okay, where am I? Alexa, we did. Okay, Molly Brooks from the Erase Coalition, their housing systems team, potato latkes with applesauce. Yum. Brian Olson from Bremerton Housing Authority. His mom's candied yams with marshmallows on top. Classic and delicious. Thank you for being here, Brian. Virginia from the Kitsap Housing and Homelessness Division. This year, their turkey will be cooked in a wood-fired oven, though many of us are meat-free. Ooh, wood-fired. I bet that's good. Yum. I'm getting hungry. Daniel Michaels from PCHS. Stuffing. A must-have is stuffing. Agreed. Martita, thank you for being here and making the time for, even if you have to leave a little bit early. Do you have any like fun holiday foods that you like to eat?
Yeah, I put in the chat. You want me to share with you?
Go ahead and share it. I'm like ad-libbing here.
Okay, my favorite growing up dish was smoked turkey that Daddy used to cook. Amazing, delicious. It's just, I know a gringo who tried that. He said, "Oh my gosh, this is the most delicious stuffed turkey I ever ate." So that I miss that. So I wish I could have the recipe to share with you guys and cook it for you guys, but that is in heaven. So I'll be sending him a telegraph message that he can send me his recipe through his dreams. Through my dreams, sorry. Thank you.
That sounds delicious, Martita. Thank you for sharing. Okay, Michelle J-Ro from Kitsap Transit, homemade Reese's cup cookies. Oh, nice. That sounds wonderful. Nicole Olberg from Salish Behavioral Health Administrative Services Organization. I just like to say the full name because you have it so nicely written in the chat for me, Nicole. Every year she makes this oat top sweet potato crisp way better than candied yams, in my opinion, she says, and she's got the link. Thank you, Nicole. I'm so glad that you're here, and thanks for sharing your recipes. Erica from Kitsap Homes of Compassion. Squash is her favorite holiday side dish. Yummy. Tiffany Turnley from Agape, stuffing, but it's only made right. I would love to know your version of stuffing. Can you give us a short version?
So basically when I make stuffing, I make it from fresh, like French bread with like fresh herbs and everything. And I use homemade stock and fresh vegetables and all that kind of stuff. It's like the best.
It's stuffing made right.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Tiffany. Doug Washburn from the county's Human Services, is it Division Department? I feel like that's almost the whole umbrella of the county.
The department.
Okay, department. Lutefisk, and is it Ramagrat? Am I pronouncing that correctly? Rumagrat. What is, can you tell me what that is?
It's a Norwegian porridge based out of wheat flour and sour cream. It's not very pleasant.
Nice. I was hoping that people would share some not very pleasant Thanksgiving foods. I have one to share like that too. Just wait. Mark Boatwright again. Irish trifle is our holiday dish. I bet that's good. I'm gonna have to talk to you more about that when I see you in the library. Eric from the Salvation Army. Holiday meal favorite is mousse. Okay, is that like a chocolate mousse, Eric?
That's like moosey moose, real moose.
Oh, real mousse.
We had native friends that would come over on the holiday and bring big moose steaks, and because they could hunt all year, and they would treat us to moose, and it is fabulous.
Wow, very cool. I'm glad that I checked myself. Thank you for being here, Eric.
Of course.
Joey Hayes from Kitsap Race Coalition. Her favorite food is potato latkes, and they are served with applesauce. Maria Fergus from Kitsap Public Health Department. Her favorite food growing up was stuffing made with homemade croutons and fresh veggies and herbs. Now, she would rather enjoy pozole or tamales with champurrado. Can you share what champurrado is for those who might not know, Maria?
It's a thick, warm drink. So it could be chocolate, strawberry, vanilla, any flavor you can think of, you can make it. And you have to be very careful with it because it gets a film and you think it's already cooled down, but the film keeps it hot, so you'll burn yourself.
Number of files from companies.
Maria, you said fresa, strawberry?
Sí, champurrado
I
de
didn't
fresa.
know.
Yes.
Had to try the Sinaloa style champurrado. That's good too. Maria, that's really good. Had to look at that recipe. Thank you, Lisa, for sharing.
Yeah, no, I'm a fan too, but I haven't had it since I was little. It reminds me of kind of like malto meal, but better, like chocolate malto meal, if you guys ever had that. But it's much better. Comforting cinnamon, spices, all that. Let's see. Okay. Joseph Crane, thank you for being here. Let's see. Multiple just sentences. I'm sorry, I'm just laughing in the chat. I'm focused, you guys, and we've got a big agenda. So let's see. Maria's asking how you can get involved in the Project Connect planning. Maria, I'm going to advise you to connect with me directly and I can give you guidance. We have a team, but there's still some like specific tasks that we can assign. Okay. Amanda Rodriguez, thank you for being here from the Real team. Aileen Cayo, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. She's got a Filipino sweet macaroni salad. Ooh, that sounds good, like barbecue-y. I love it. And I've got some specific requests for me. Katie, I'm scrolling through. Tell me if I'm missing anything. Jessica Campbell is here from Housing Resources. Thank you for being here. And Jessica from HRB. I am new to a new empty nester this year, so it will be pizza, a special treat for me because of low carbs. And thankful for no dishes. Check, and got it. I'm surprised. We shared a lot of food here. My partner's family makes creamed onions, which I was not very into, and I still am not into. That is the most unusual Thanksgiving food I've had. In further conversations, it seems like, that's debatable. Some people love creamed onions, and some people don't. So thank you. We do this to get to know each other, to relate to each other. We're people. Come on. All right. We're going to dig into the content or meat of the agenda, starting with some shelter updates. So Eric Harold from Salvation Army, the floor is yours. There's been a lot going on at Salvation Army. Let us know what's going on and how we might advise people in the community about services regarding shelter.
Sure. Well, thanks for the introduction, and hello to everybody that's attending the meeting. Salvation Army is running pretty much like it did prior to closing down in April, where we had 3 consistent years of sheltering. So we're sheltering in that same style this year. So we have a day room during the day, and then we have 3 meals a day with some exceptions, like Monday night is up Star of the Sea. But otherwise, all the meals will either be made here or brought here and served from here. And night shelter opens at 7 p.m. I think we're still the county's only walk-in low barrier shelter that serves men and women, takes pets, dogs and cats, please. No small horses, birds, reptiles. Appreciate not having those things, but the other dogs and cats, sure. Challenges I think that we're kind of facing right now, biggest one is staffing, just so understaffed. We have about half to 2/3 of our staff, and just a variety of reasons, from the bureaucracy within our own organization to the fact that it's just hard to find employees now. Sometimes I don't. Workforce seemed to go away during COVID, and I'm not sure where they went, but they're not all rushing back. So finding a little bit difficult to find people, and so we are looking and working on that kind of thing. Still doing social services, hygiene offered here and at the property. We are doing commodities now, Tuesdays and Thursdays at between 2 and 6 p.m. out the doors at the alleyways. So those are like government food, right? Eggs, milk, cheese, stuff like that. Proteins, a lot of proteins, tunas, chickens, canned chicken, all that kind of thing. And I think that is probably about it. I think as far as the physical building and our execution of the shelter, I have noticed some things with the clients. Since we started sheltering, a couple of things have gone into effect, right? The camping ban is now being enforced. What was that drug change was called the Blake fix. The Blake fix. So where people used to be given 3 warnings, but no one was keeping track of the warnings. So you didn't know if someone had 1, 2, or 3 warning, or 4, 10 warnings. So it really wasn't working. So with both of those things kind of in play right now, I see that the client behavior as being a little more hostile. There is still a lot of drug activity going on. People are concerned because of the cold, and whenever it gets cold and wet outside, they get scared, understandably. And when they get scared, everything elevates for them. So as far as what we see inside the building is still moderate. We haven't had any big problems creating us any real difficulty. We still have security 24/7 and working on hiring more staff. So more staff will make it safer and better for all of us and clients as well. And I think that's about one more thing. We are going to be the city's COVID service provider, I suppose would be the way to put it. We're going to coordinate homeless COVID persons at the hospital. They're being discharged. The county's going to let us give us some money so we can get hotel rooms. KCR had done it in the past, had worked with us, enabled part of doing that. They don't have that funding anymore. That funding has gone away. So the city and county are going to be sending Salvation Army some money and asking us to do that directly. And so we will do that, and we'll do the food. G2 will still do the service. The Hope Peninsula Community Health Service will still do the medical care coordination if it's necessary. And we have to, I have to reach out to some hotels and make sure that we're in good standing with them. Hopefully we've been paying our bills. And if we have, then they'll be willing to do business with us. So that's kind of the plan for COVID. I have staff out right now with COVID. So I can tell you, COVID is still here. It's still a real thing when it comes to sheltering. Health department has given out some more guidance with regard to homeless sheltering and COVID. And it could be that after 7 days in a congregate setting, after 7 days that somebody could be back here, or the maximum of 10 if they still have symptoms or there's some other reason to do it. So health department is putting out some guidance on that. And I think that's it. I'm very willing to answer any questions. I do see the chat, so I'll kind of keep an eye on it. If somebody has any questions, I'll try and answer them. Otherwise, that's it for Salvation Army, and good to see everybody.
Thank you so much, Eric. If the coalition has any questions, if you could do me a favor, since we're a larger group today, if you could just put up your Zoom hand or speak up. All right. And again, Eric is available via chat. Okay. It looks like you do have a question in chat, Eric. Do you have to turn people away due to overflow?
No, not yet. We're not anticipating doing that. I don't know that there was ever a time last year that we did it, and we have a maximum capacity of close to 80. So depending on how we tuck people away, which counter we put people under, and which extra space that we find to use here or there, we can have about 80 people. I'm not aware of us turning away people last year due to a capacity issue. I mean, there are other issues that we've turned away people for, but capacity is not one of them. We do have a family here right now, and have had families, a couple of families already this year. So we continue to try and serve everybody that comes here.
Thanks, Eric. Next question for you is a request to repeat the details about men's shelter and pet information.
Okay, so our shelter is a low barrier walk-in shelter for men, women. Minors can be here with a parent or guardian. The pets are cats and dogs, nothing else. Hope that answers that.
Okay, And next, I see Brian in chat, and then Martita, I saw your hand up, so I'll check on you in just a moment. Brian is asking if you need more donations of canned tuna, chicken, milk, or eggs, or anything else.
I don't manage the food side of it. I can tell you I have pallets of tuna, so I probably have enough tuna. The commodities come from the government through Bremerton Food Line to us. So I think all that is fine. All that kind of thing is fine. I turned away someone with frozen turkeys today. I was then corrected and said, never turn away anyone with frozen turkeys. So we'll take turkeys as well.
Okay, and then Martita, you had your hand up earlier. Do you have a question for Eric?
Yes, thank you. What about if people is undocumented and doesn't have any ID? Do you turn them away, or how do you support them?
For clients that have no ID, we don't check ID for people that come in. We ask for a name. We will insist on a name. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to give us the correct name, but we take a name and a birthday down on people that do come in. We like to get the right name, right? Because that's very helpful for us solving problems later that can come up with who's here. But we don't divulge who's here, and we don't let people come in and just see who's here. If you've got a purpose for being here, people can come in. But we don't require IDs. We do help people get IDs that want to have an ID that may not have an ID. We'll do that. We pay for the vouchers, the driver's license. Not doing enhanced IDs right now at the DOL. They're not going to be required for domestic travel until 2025. So I don't have money to pay the extra expense to give someone an enhanced ID. Maybe 2025, that'll be different.
Thank you, Eric. What about if they don't speak the language? Do you have anyone who speaks Spanish there, or mom?
Yes, Google Translator. I love it, right? It is the best. So as long as I have my phone, we're chatting.
Okay, Eric. It looks like in chat, Joey has a question. Has anyone been turned away for any reason? Are there reasons such as high medical needs that would have someone turned away for other than behavioral reasons? How are behavioral reasons handled / de-escalated?
So making someone ineligible is always the last resort. We never want to make people ineligible, but there are people that I do make ineligible, and it's not a punishment. It's an attempt to get their attention, and then to be able to talk with them, have a discussion about what kind of behavior works at our shelter and what doesn't. And as long as they're willing to have that discussion, we've let most people back in that were ineligible prior to us reopening the shelter. We've certainly talked about that list. I do have a list of people that are not going to be eligible again. But those people had violent tendencies, and it is just unsafe for the staff and other participants here to have them. So we do try hard, and we accept a lot of bad, less than great behavior without throwing someone out, without making them ineligible, right? We'll put up with a lot before someone is asked to leave. So I don't have an exact parameter to give you. You know, it's social work at a shelter, and you learn those things that are acceptable and aren't unacceptable. You know, language, physical touching, things like that. The language, we can live with a lot. The physical touching, we can't live with. If it's sexual, someone grabs someone by the behind or something like that, they'll be out for a couple of days to get their attention. If someone attacks somebody, it's probably going to be longer than that. So I forget, there was something besides behavior, I think, that the person had asked about.
High medical needs was another.
Medical needs, right? That's good. So a person can be beyond our level of care. If they can't get down onto the floor and up off the floor, they can't transfer from a walker wheelchair to a toilet and back to the walker wheelchair, they're going to be above our level of needs and probably more suitable for a sniff or something like that. So we don't have people trained to get people up or down or transfer people. And so that's not something that we can do.
Eric Joey asked, like specifically in chat, like conditions like incontinence.
Yeah, we have adult undergarments, and so we encourage their use. Someone that we don't know to have that situation in the morning, if it's obvious that they do have that situation going on, we will ask them to use these undergarments, and give them an opportunity to succeed here. If they chose not to wear them and continually had that problem where we were cleaning up waste, then I probably wouldn't continue to allow that.
And then just clarification, when you were talking about helping a Salvation Army clients, like get up and down from the floor, you said sniff or SIF or
skilled nursing facility.
Okay.
Sorry, sniff. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. And someone had already answered that. I didn't scroll down to the chat. And then Carisha asked if there are any exceptions to the one backpack rule.
Sure. Backpacks are anything that can fit into a 33-gallon black bag can go in Connex. And I could probably put 3 backpacks into that. If you're talking about what people can bring into the shelter, people can bring into the shelter what can fit in a 1-gallon clear Ziploc bag. So we want to be able to see what people are bringing in. If they have contraband or something, they can't bring that in. If they want to put it into their Connex, that's fine. They can put it in their Connex. We'll store it overnight. They'll have to get it at 8:30 in the morning when we offer those possessions back up to their owners, and that's fine. So if they have more than what can fit in a 1-gallon or a black 33-gallon bag, then they have to downsize. And we'll do everything we can to help them decide on what the best way is to downsize. And if there's something we can do to assist with that, oftentimes it's going to be their choice. They might have to not have something that they care about while they're here. And that often is problematic, right? If they have no one to give it to. I understand that, but that we just only have a certain amount of room.
Thanks, Eric. I think a few more questions, and then I'm gonna shift off to Kitsap Rescue Mission with Robin Lund. But the last ones in questions in chat were, one, Eric, do you search bags to assure that there are no knives or guns? His answer to what is your response to that?
So we don't search bags for that. That's why we require people to bring in only what can go into the clear 1 gallon Ziploc bag. So we don't have to search through people's bags. So they can bring in their medication, they can bring in a computer alongside that clear bag. They can bring in a purse, the clear Ziploc bag. The things that they're bringing in that are important to them should go into that small clear bag that they're bringing in, and everything should go in Connex, so we don't have to look through it. We do want people that come in to make sure they have nothing in their pockets that's going metal things in their pockets. Oftentimes we find paraphernalia or illegal drugs. So if they have those illegal drugs, we offer them, they can either turn it in to us and we will dispose of it, or they can leave. We don't give them an opportunity to go outside, re-hide it, and then come back in. So if they want to turn it in, they can turn it in, they'll lose it, but they can stay in. If they don't want to surrender it, then they have to leave.
Thanks, Eric. And then one last thing, so the shelter opens at 7 p.m. at night, when does it close in the morning? Like, do people have to leave in the morning?
Yeah, 6:15, we start waking people up. 6:45, the building should be clear. And then we let people in at 8 o'clock for breakfast. So that gives us an hour and a half to clean the building.
Thank you. Just due to time, I'm going to shift over to Robin at Kitsap Rescue Mission. If you like, Eric, I don't know if you want to put your email in the chat for additional questions, or we can also have questions sent to the admin at KHC email, and I can forward those on. What is your preference?
I'll put it in the chat.
Okay, thank you, Eric. All right, Robin, the floor is yours. Thank you so much for being here, representing Kitsap Rescue Mission and sharing what's going on over there for the winter months.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. I'm Robin Lund. I'm the Executive Director of the Kitsap Rescue Mission, and we operate a continuous stay shelter, low barrier continuous stay, which means when folks come in, they actually stay with us. They don't leave during the day or come back, at night. They're just considered guests here at the shelter. So we are operating at the Quality Inn on Kitsap Way, and we currently have 66 hotel rooms here designated for individuals and families. And all of our shelter guests come in through the Housing Solutions Center, and it's my understanding there are approximately 100 people currently on the wait list to get into shelter specifically. So we're kind of a hybrid between continuous stay and enhanced shelter because we also provide services on site. We received a 0.1% grant last year and this year to provide a full-time mental health counselor and also a full-time substance use counselor through Agape Unlimited and MCS Counseling. So our licensed mental health counselor and our substance use disorder professional are integrated onto our team. They come to our staff meetings, they provide crisis intervention, consultation to staff, and they also can facilitate assessments, crisis intervention, treatment placement, and also they've been a big boon for our shelter guests in providing sober living opportunities, sober housing opportunities. So that's been really great. Currently, we have 19 families and 31 children in shelter. We have 107 people total. So we also have male and female individuals, but we're seeing more and more families now coming into shelter. We're also seeing a lot of seniors coming in now. Our folks are low income. Many of them are no income. And then a lot of our elderly folks, some of whom also have medical conditions, they're on very limited income. So finding housing has been quite a challenge. Since we've been here in August of 2021, we have housed successfully 71 families and individuals. So that's quite an achievement considering the housing inventory is limited in Kitsap. We have a food services department, and all of our meals are served here on site, 3 meals a day. The meals are actually prepared at City Chapel, and then we have a host of volunteers that go to City Chapel to help prepare the meals. And we do have some volunteers coming in to help serve the meals as well. We have kind of a novel approach to service delivery. And by that, I mean, when folks come in for an intake, they're initially screened at Housing Solutions Center. We do background checks now. We're looking for assaultive behavior, assault 1, 2, or 3. We really work hard to screen people into shelter as opposed to out of shelter. And also safety is our number one concern because we are seeing more and more small children and families and vulnerable folks here. So we receive the information from the Housing Solutions Center. They come in for their intake, and then they're triaged with our team. We practice consensus-based decision making when it comes to shelter extensions for our shelter guests. There's a normative expectation that a guest will likely be in shelter with us for at least 90 days. So, and then after that, they can apply for 30-day extensions on a month-to-month basis. So once a week, the entire team gets around the table. We talk about the progress of the shelter guest, what they're doing on their housing stability plan when they meet with our case managers, and try to help facilitate individualized planning for them. Sometimes that means we need to give verbal warnings, written warnings, or we'll do a care team meeting if there's some challenges around behavior to help them, to intervene and help them overcome their barriers. So we've got several partnerships that we work with. Again, we're working with Multi-Service Center, or MCS. We're working with Agape Unlimited, and then we also have Peninsula Community Health Services coming in with the medical and dental vans, providing those services on site as well. We currently have 18 staff. We're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we also have full-time security here at the Quality Insight. And what's happened is we're starting to really see people get stabilized. We've had, particularly this last year, now with the addition of the mental health professional and the substance use counselor, we've seen folks really be able to become employable, get any medication needs that they have or treatment needs taken care of. And as a result of that, we've been able to help people become self-sufficient and able to move on. So that's been great. The rescue mission is looking forward to our move. We're here in partnership with Kitsap County Human Services Department, and they are working on a renovation at the Pacific Building, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard about. It used to be called the Mile Hill Building. It's up on Mile Hill in Port Orchard, and so we'll be transitioning all of our shelter operations there. It's looking like hopefully before cold weather season next year. And so we're kind of biding our time here, keeping people safe and fed and sheltered until then. And meanwhile, we've purchased a 5,500 square foot building in Port Orchard. The rescue mission has to start working on a permanent housing program for 12 women. So we'll be moving our administrative offices there at that site in Port Orchard, and also providing permanent housing for 12 women. And the housing will be specific to folks that have no other options. So for example, some of our senior women that are here now with us who are on very fixed incomes and can't even afford fair market rent in the community, that don't have any other subsidies available. So we'll be looking toward that. And then we're hoping in 2024, we'll start searching then for another building to provide permanent housing for 12 men. So that's pretty exciting. The rescue mission has come a long, long way since we were down on 6th Street. I know a lot of you probably remember that. We operated a 29-bed walk-up shelter, night-by-night shelter, and a day room, and had very light case management services there. But yeah, we've been growing in leaps and bounds. We have a great team, and we're seeing some really promising results here. with the folks that we're working with. So I'm open to questions.
Thank you so much, Robin. There are a couple of questions in chat, and people can continue to put them there, speak up, or raise their Zoom hand, and I will call them. Just for clarification, someone asked, is the Quality Inn location closing? You're moving, correct?
Right, we'll be transitioning our operations out of the Quality Inn. Yeah, and I'm not, Casey, we're in buildings C, D, and E. C, D, and E up here. So we've got 66 hotel units up here. Buildings A and B are still partially being utilized by Kitsap Community Resources and Housing Solutions Center. I believe they're doing some eviction prevention programs down there and rapid rehousing programs. I'm not sure what will happen. I'm sure, you know, they intend on potentially staying down there, but we'll be moving our operations. So
thank you. And then Daniel has a question in chat. It says, is the length of stay typically month to month, or is it individual case by case? And for the wait list, where there is 100, what is the general wait time for clients?
that's a great idea, or great question. So folks coming into shelter, again, we have a normative expectation that they're going to be here at least 90 days, and that's kind of time for them to decompress, start working with services if they choose to, and start making some different decisions for themselves. And then we go to that month-to-month model. So, I mean, we've got folks that have been with us here since before COVID. And, you know, fortunately, when we partnered with the county over at the Kitsap Pavilion, we were able to keep folks with us, stay home and stay healthy on site with us and keep them safe during that time. But I think what happened was, you know, over time, people started getting really comfortable. And so we implemented the 90-day expectation at the beginning of 2023. And now what we've seen is people are really starting to get into action. They're starting to look for work. We had, I think, 14 people became employable last month, or became employed last month, which was really kind of a forward jump. And so I think as people are realizing, I mean, we're an emergency shelter. We're not, you know, we're not a permanent housing program. And then having those supportive services come in and provide opportunities for them to get those needs met, we're starting to see some great results.
Thank you. A couple more, Robin. So just clarification, from your current location at the Quality of Inn, you are moving to what we're calling Pacific Place on Mile Hill and Port Orchard. There was a couple more questions about the move. And then a different question was, will there be access for transportation for people who have service providers in Bremerton? Port Orchard is quite a distance for people without vehicles.
Yeah, we actually have 2 vans. We transport people all over the place right now. We do have some folks that aren't accessing services on site that choose to go out into the community and access those services. And so we provide transportation to those appointments, medical appointments, mental health appointments, et cetera. So we'll do the same thing there. We do have opportunities to do that. And also Kitsap Transit, there'll be a bus stop at the end of our driveway. Kitsap Transit will be another option for folks. And it's the Pacific Building on Mile Hill. It used to be an old health and racquetball club, and the county purchased the building, so we'll be coming in as the service providers there.
Related to that, Molly is asking, is it bigger, that the new location?
It's actually a different model altogether. It's going to be kind of an open model. So we'll have 75 shelter beds in an open space. There will be some different setups. So for example, families will be in one section, men will be in one, women will be in the other. It will also be a fully enhanced shelter model, because we will be co-sheltering pets. We'll have up to 20 pets on site, dogs, cats, and potentially a couple of other critters coming in with the folks that are there. And we'll also have storage there, which is part of, you know, what will make that the enhanced shelter model.
And then the last one that I see in chat is, how will your permanent housing for women and the one you plan for men differ from the houses that Eagles Wings and Homes of Compassion provide?
That's a good question. Those programs are great, and we actually rely heavily on Eagles Wings and Kitsap Homes of Compassion and some of our other community providers because they do have such flexible housing opportunities. I would say that they'll be similar. They will be permanent housing paired with supportive service. So that we'll be using progressive engagement. People can get as much help or as little help as they need. And it will be a forever home for 12 women. And we intend on modeling the men's home with the same structure.
And a couple more, and then I'm gonna, after these two questions, I might have you reach out to Robin directly just because we're a bit over time. But Robin, the last two questions for this segment of the meeting, what is being done to keep LGBTQ people feeling safe, especially people who are gender non-conforming or transgender?
I would say that we definitely have a non-discrimination policy, but also we believe that our staff should represent the populations that we serve. We do have LGBTQ staff, and we are definitely actively looking for resources that can help marginalized folks. So,
thanks. And then last one, what permanent housing idea solutions being developed for? Oh, okay. I think this is a more general question. What permanent housing idea solutions being developed for presentation to council or city? Think after the mayor opens the pallet houses on Oyster Bay. Justin, that's a good segue to our next presenter. So thank you to Robin and Eric for sharing an update on our shelters. Justin, I hear your question. I'm gonna table it as we start speaking with Katie. But before we go, this is just an open invite for anyone who is working in any sort of shelter. Do you have an update for the coalition that you would like to share, even though you weren't listed on the agenda? This is your time if you have information.
Just that there's a lot going on, right? And it's a lot going on. It's important that we all work together.
Thanks, Tony. Glad you're here. Janae.
Hey everyone, this is Benedict House. I just wanted to update that we do have one open upper bunk right now, and then we still have some medical respite beds that are open. So for those of you who are out in the community, still trying to do outreach and stuff like that, if anybody needs to know that as they're sending people to the hospital, and they're going to know that they need time to recoup, just remember we're out here and we do have some openings.
Thank you, Janae. I appreciate you being here. Okay, then we're going to shift over to the city of Bremerton. Katie, do you want to share a little bit about your team and the work that you're working on and what information you're hoping to learn and share with us?
Yeah, hi, thank you so much. First, I'm going to share that my grandmother used to make creamed corn, or I'm sorry, creamed onions. And it was her personal favorite. And I think she was the only one. And I just remember it being very, very white. So, and with you. Yeah. Yeah, I am here from the city of Bremerton. I am a project manager for Public Works, and the city has identified a site at Oyster Bay Avenue North adjacent to our public works facility for some type of shelter. Right now we are working we have 2 lanes that we're working on right now. One is just to get the site prepped and ready for a shelter. And the other one is to determine what is the right type of shelter to put onto the site. And, those are decisions that, are being, are going to be ultimately up to the city council. So we have engaged with a consultant firm who has a lot of experience in working with different communities to develop homeless shelters of all different types. And what they're going to do is they're coming in to take a look at Bremerton's needs and look at 3 different shelter types: a congregate setting shelter, some kind of pallet tiny home shelter, or a highly regulated tent encampment. And they're using, we're trying to work very quickly. So we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We know this group is really well organized. There's a lot of information and things that people are working on. So we want to use the information that's already out there, the work that Kitsap County has already done. So that we can, analyze these different shelter types and make a recommendation for the Oyster Bay site. So today we are here really just to introduce ourselves and also to try and get some feedback from this group on, what the immediate needs are, how many people need to be served, and that type of information. So, we don't have a big presentation or a lot of information to share. We're really just kind of in this phase of learning ourselves. So, if you all have anything to share with us today, we'd really appreciate it.
Okay, I see a hand up, Katie, so I'm just going to open it to the crowd. But before we start, Katie, can you present the 3 options again that you're considering?
Yeah, so we are considering a congregate style, low barrier walk-up shelter that would be, like some kind of like sprung structure type thing. A tiny house or pallet house shelter, or a regulated outdoor tent encampment.
Okay, thanks, Katie. Janae, the floor is yours.
Hi, Katie. Catholic Community Services has operated all 3 different types of models and actually has all 3 kind of up and running already. One of them that strikes my ear when you mentioned what you're considering is our stability site in Tacoma. Started off as a walk-up tent encampment and has progressed into a pallet shelter model. So if you would like to connect, and I can get you connected with the people who kind of got that up and running, just to give you more background and information so you're not reinventing the wheel, I would love to do that for you.
That would be great. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks, Janae. Katie, is there are you comfortable sharing a contact, or I can also be intermediary if you share that? Just let me know, and you can put it in the chat. Are there any other recommendations, things to consider from the group? for Katie at this time? Robin's got her hand up, and then Maria. Robin, you go first, please.
Katie, I had the opportunity to tour the Tacoma Rescue Mission last week, and they actually are operating several congregate shelters, but we toured their pallet encampment, which has been really successful. It might be worth your while to check it out. I can send you info about the contact there as well.
Thank you.
Maria.
So a few months back, I went to a discussion on affordable housing up in Kingston, and there was someone there that does printing mini homes, like cement printed mini homes. I'd never heard the concept, but I thought it was really interesting. So has anyone here heard about that? Or specifically Katie, have you heard about that?
I haven't really heard about that. I know we were looking at one that was pallet styles. They basically get flat packed and then come in and get set up. So it's kind of similar, fast, rapid deployment type housing.
Right. And the company's here in Kitsap County. So
interesting.
Yeah. So I just figured I'd pass that on.
Maria, if you can look up like the name and just email it to me directly or to the KHC email, like I will get that to Katie just to help her from additional sleuthing. John, I saw your hand up.
Yeah, thank you very much. My question has to do with how many tiny homes can you fit on the Oyster Bay site approximately, if you know that?
I don't know that yet. It kind of depends on how much space, cleared space we'll have, which we don't know just yet. We are certainly constrained by space on the site. So that is one of our concerns, is that Kitsap Rescue Mission has 100 people on their waiting list, and I don't think that we would be able to meet that need. So that is a major consideration for us.
So you're saying you need 100 is what you need, right? Or that's what people are telling you? Or
I think that's certainly one of the questions that we have is, how many, what is the need? And informed by things like the wait lists and the number of folks that Salvation Army regularly serves.
So you might need another site depending on, I don't know the size of it, but the reason I'm bringing up the question is just my son started as a co-founder of Homes Now, Not Later up in Bellingham. And in a very short time frame, what happened back in the COVID time is that all the homeless ended up basically encamping themselves right around City Hall in Bellingham. And in a very short time frame, the city was able, in 3-week period of time, be able to set up 40 tiny homes. The fastest way, of course, if you don't have water, running water, and any of that kind of stuff, it gets a little more complicated, but a lot of things can be done depending on what happens. And the cost is so tremendously low compared to where people spend millions on the infrastructure. And building the infrastructure is not really the problem, because there's so many people that want to build little tiny homes and things like that. And I love the idea of the pallet homes, except that I would imagine that they're a lot more expensive than possibly than building tiny homes where people already have it. And I already heard that churches have tiny homes just stored somewhere in Kitsap County, just sitting there because nobody knows how to put them together or get it done. So I'm just thinking that, if the need is larger, there's so many options that people need, and, trying to keep people out of tents and being able to be in a place that when they walk in, that there's security for the residents that are there, and that you're not spending a fortune on it. I think in a year, my son, it's around $20,000 to, feed and take care of everybody. Well, they have a separate area for that, but they do it extremely low, where another one that's very similar with the same amount of doing is doing it for millions of dollars up there in Bellingham. But it's reduced all the crime, a good percentage of the crime that's happened. The people are very happy with the facility. They, it's safe. And the police like it. The city likes it. So it's just something to consider. And I know my son would anytime would come down and help you, or also be able to support, that history or whatever he's done, which has obviously been running since 2017 with over 40 people on 2 sites. So.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Katie put her contact in the chat, and so you might want to connect with her directly to share just additional information. I see Roland and then Jill Stanton. I'm going to get to Roland first. I just want to kind of acknowledge what's been in chat. Bridget shared that Pendleton Place has a wait list of over 600. And then Daniel, I wanted to give you the floor. You had asked, I think your previous question may have been answered, but then you are also asking for future sites. I wanted to give you the floor just so I'm not missing anything that you are hoping to be answered. If you're there and available. Okay, Daniel, I'm just going to put that out. Does anyone know if there's any future sites that are under consideration for shelter?
This for the city right now, we're just working on this oyster-based site. From my side of it, I could not speak to other efforts or ideas that might be happening.
Okay, thank you, Katie. I think Tony just shared 40 pallets with the kitchen showers. Community room is 1.3 million and can be done fairly quickly. And I'm going to give the floor to you, Roland. Your turn.
I'll tell you, just for the sake of time, I'll put it in the chat. I was just going to let her know. I've been in contact with the mayor. I've talked with him about the tiny homes. I've got the history of going through that painful struggle with the county, the difficulties in both building code, the labored industries, restrictions on non-on-site built items. So, Katie, I'll just put my contact info in the chat to you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Roland. Jill from Bremerton Housing Authority.
Thanks, Lisa. So I just wanted to, I was at the community meeting last night, and I wanted just to bring up the concern that I heard over and over again, that the voices of the community that live around Oyster Bay really need to be heard. And so I think that it would be great for us if you could provide us the plan for the outreach to the community. I don't think that the community is necessarily saying, no, they wouldn't accept a shelter there, although that there may be, that may be going on as well. But I think knowing what kind of shelter would be preferable to that community is really crucially important, especially to the residents of Bay Vista development up there. So that's the first thing. And then the other thing is that people with Rock the Block really felt it was important to have the voice of the people that are unhoused and would be potentially using the shelter be heard. And so having an outreach plan for that, I think, would also really help the cause to be accepted. And so I think going directly to what type of a shelter is going to be recommended without doing that. Those two types of outreach is something that we shouldn't be doing as a community. And then also, I just wanted to ask John Gustafson if you could give us your son's contact or your contact, because there is a group of leaders meeting about this.
Yes.
Okay, that would be great, and trying to come up with some recommendations for the city council. Thank you.
Thanks, Jill. Any other thoughts or recommendations for Katie with the city regarding Oyster Bay Avenue?
And I just want to give a opportunity. There's a couple of people from the team here. If they have any questions that they want to ask the group to, please chime in.
Hey guys, I'll chime in. I'm David Renard. I'm with RPM. I'm on the consultant team for Katie, and we've got some others with us. I don't know who's still on. We got Cruz there, who's under my name. So I'm actually more on the design and construction. We can still kind of call it feasibility of the design and how that design will work with the community, as well as, of course, the unhoused population. So from our perspective, the way we look at things is it's voluntary to stay at a shelter, and we want it to be attractive because that is going to be the first facility potentially to them that offers hope. And so that attraction, we want them to stay there and be immersed in services. Let's just say that they've never stayed in shelter and haven't had services before. So that's the approach that we're always looking at. And so we're looking at it from a lot of sources, but just to summarize really quickly, of course, the city, who will most likely be funding it, the nonprofit service provider who will be operating it, the residents, the clients that will be staying there, and then of course the community that surrounds the shelter. And so with our designs, we've done a really good job of coordinating all of these different aspects so everyone is happy. And we've fought NIMBYism back that way. And so Jill, I really appreciate what you had said about the outreach component, because we're going to be putting a recommendation together based off of these 3 different shelter options and how they interact with your local geographic area, the community, everything else I just listed. I don't want to be redundant. But then including an outreach plan there too is a really smart idea. And I think we'll do that. So just to the group, everybody, I'll put my team's email in the chat. I don't want to hold up for this call, but as Cruz always likes to say, we like to do, climate checks, and we want to be creative. And we want to be, representative of the voices that we hear. So tell us about Bremerton's needs. That's just going to be my blanket statement that I'll put out there, and you guys can email me directly. And if you have ideas or you've seen something that you think Bremerton needs, regardless of like the shelter option type that we're looking at, more just about the needs of the unhoused. And then also you're going to know the community and the neighborhood better than I do currently. If you've got other insight there, we would like to hear that. And then we're going to use all of this information and help shape a recommendation for the council to present. That's it for me.
Thank you, David. Katie, you've got your hand up.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. I think this is a great discussion, and I appreciate it being presented to this group. I think this meeting started with a really enlightening discussion with actual shelter operators, with Salvation Army, with Kitsap Rescue Mission. So there's the building type is one, but what is the plan for management? Does management look different based on what type of shelter it's going to be? I think that should be a real big consideration for how is this going to be managed for the long term, and by who?
That's a really great question, and that's part of I think what will go into our recommendation, and will I don't have I don't have the answers yet, but we are working on it.
Okay, and then just to Katie, for you and your team, just to draw attention, Corey Derenberger in chat shared a link from the Housing Solutions Center coordinated entry that has like information about demographics, the wait list, the services. So that might be a beneficial resource for you to investigate a little bit more. And then Maria Fergus is asking, is there currently a bus stop near the location?
Yes, that there is a bus route actually on Oyster Bay Avenue, as well as several that run on Kitsap Bay.
Okay, and then a request from Justin. Could you pen in for discussion and planning a public restroom for within the Oyster Bay Pallet area? And someone put a thumbs up there. I hope it was someone from your team. And then Jill is asking, what is the timeline for the recommendation to be presented to City Council?
Our timeline for our presentation is planned. Our presentation is planned for December. So it would be December 13th and December 20th.
That's a pretty quick timeline to get the outreach done. So how soon would you begin doing the outreach?
Well, we we consider this to be part of our outreach. And we're looking at what else needs to be done before we go to council with our initial recommendation. So we're currently developing that.
Would it be helpful if I arranged with our residents up there for a meeting with you all?
Yeah, let's connect offline about what we could do with that.
Okay. I'll email you, Katie.
Thank you.
And then Katie from Andrea, what about when people refuse services offered to them? Example, SUD. Andrea, can you expand a little bit verbally for Katie?
Yeah, I'm sorry, substance use disorder. For people that, absolutely don't take advantage of those services, they won't stop using.
We're looking for at this point just establishing a shelter type recommendation for the site that we have and developing operations plans. So we're just not there yet to be able to answer that particular question.
And that might be the same case, Katie, for Nicole's question. She's asking how quickly we can expect people to be able to get shelter there.
Yeah, we are trying to move as quickly as possible, and very hopeful that we can get this developed through the winter and summer months, and hopefully get something stood up by next fall.
Thanks, Katie. Again, Katie's info is in the chat, and please do reflect and share any recommendations that you may have for her and her team. I'm gonna adjust the agenda a little bit. I'm gonna put the winter resources, I'm gonna merge it with agency updates at the end. And then Carl and your team from the county, I'm gonna give the floor to you just in case you have any announcements for service providers. If you're available to share whatever you've got.
Yeah, the severe weather shelters are going to be up and running when the weather dips down below 30. Department of Emergency Management controls when they open, when they don't. We have Kingston, Poulsbo, Port Orchard, Silverdale will be where those severe weather shelters are. And then point in time count, the Corey and Jared are working on that right now and connecting with the different groups that are going to be able to do that. We're going to try to use outreach teams as opposed to volunteers to hopefully get a more concise count on what that is. And then for the Mile Hill shelter, the general construction RFP is out to bid right now. We'll be opening those bids December 6th, and with the remodel construction starting January 2nd and having it open by November 1st. That's good for now.
Thank you, Carl. Several of you are, I'm jumping to Project Connect. Sorry, I'm bouncing around the agenda. Project Connect. We have a team, a mighty team of about 10 people that are helping to plan and coordinate that. The dates are on the agenda, and they've also been shared on the coalition's newsletter. There is a form if you are interested in being a vendor, which we would love. Katie, is it possible to put the link to the form for everyone? And then I'm just going to give it the floor to the planning team. So Roland, Katie, Carl, any information do you think would be pertinent to share with the group at this time regarding the resource fair? I'm also going to pause. Sorry, for those of you who don't know Project Connect, it's a 3-day resource fair. And one of those days is Poulsbo, one of those days is Bremerton, one of those days is Port Orchard. It's lots of service providers, but also lots of resources for people with low incomes and that are also living unsheltered.
I will give an update. As far as outreach, we're going to start ramping that up. We don't have a meeting in December, as we know, but you'll see a lot more information coming specific to Project Connect. So right now you've been receiving a newsletter that's about 2 times a month, just with the coalition specific news and updates. So we want to make sure to get some more outreach out there around the Project Connect, how you can help, how you can sign up as a vendor. But right now, the website has all of our emails, archives. You can get any information that we've sent through there. We are going to create a page on our website for Project Connect, but we are in the process of that. So just if you have any questions, please email admin@kitsap.hhc.org, and I can put that in the chat again. But that's the best way to get a hold of us. Again, Project Connect is the January 23rd to the 25th. And we hope to have a lot of vendors, a lot of resources, and so you'll start hearing more about it. But we appreciate everybody who's already reached out, already signed up. So that's kind of what I wanted to share about Project Connect.
Thank you, Katie. I appreciate that. Roland.
Well, I'll just make a quick pitch. One of the big things that normally provide in the Bremerton is we have eyeglass exam. We do vision testing and full eye exams, and then provide prescription eyeglasses. Regretfully, we've only got 2 doctors this year helping out with that. So if anyone has any contacts with any eye professionals, I desperately need more doctors. We normally go through 100 to 125 people in 4 hours in Bremerton. And with 2 doctors, I won't be able to serve nearly that many. So again, if anybody's got any eye professionals, I could use their help. Thanks.
Thanks, Roland. That's a lot of people. I'd also put a call out for anybody who can speak Spanish. That always seems to be a perennial need at the Project Connect Resource Fair. So please do share, and Katie, who is doing a fabulous job of marketing this event, and you'll learn more if you've subscribed to our newsletter, or even if you just look at the Kitsap Housing and Homelessness website, You will see all the information there. We will, I believe, our next coalition meeting, which is the third week of January, that will give us a time to check in for any last questions. But of course, we'll be sharing out through the month of December. Okay, I'm going to share some updates regarding the coalition. So last month, or maybe the month prior, I put a call out for nominations for our executive team. And I am happy to introduce this year's executive team. And so first off, I am shifting out, but I will support the coalition still. But our new chair is going to be Katie Sharp from Bremerton Housing Authority. She's the communications manager there. And just so you know what Katie does, and Katie's prepared to be a little bit embarrassed. She has served as our vice chair since last March, and she's been on the KHHC executive team since 2021. Katie has upgraded our structure for communications, including managing all of our membership and the newsletter, which is currently serving our project, which gets all of our information out and currently serving on our Project Connect planning team. Katie is amazing. I can't wait for you to see her shine and be facilitating this meeting, but just know that she already does so much for the coalition. I'm just excited for her work ahead. Our vice chair will be Bridget Glasspool. I don't know if she's still on the call or if she had to jump off. She is the Housing and Community Services Director at Kitsap Mental Health Services. She served on the coalition for, I think, well over a decade. She's been on the executive team for many years. She helped launch Pendleton Place. She is currently on our Project Connect planning team. If I could say anything about Bridget, is that she knows a lot. Like, she is a great guide and a wealth of knowledge to local housing services. She's been involved with most of the organizations that I'm aware of. I'm excited for her in this new role. And then we had some amazing people that served as interim secretaries, and they are going to be our new secretaries. We have two, so we're building capacity. One is Emily Larson. She is the housing case manager at Kitsap Rescue Mission. I've already, like, you guys have already witnessed some of her notes. Again, this is a very important role. We're hoping that our secretaries can help us with timely correspondence, because that is upticking through our main email. But I'm so happy to have Emily. I already feel like better connected to Kitsap Rescue Mission. She was the connector for today's presentation. And then our other secretary, Dana Emily, she's the case manager at Eagles Wing Coordinated Care. Again, better connections, better team. I'm just thrilled that they will be leading the coalition this next year. And I also want to acknowledge just Leif again. He's been on the coalition forever. He's managing our website. He does this just because. And I think at one point, Leif, you said you might do it forever or as long as you could. Just know that there are so many people that are making this coalition be the best it can to help us stay connected and informed. And Leif is definitely part of that. Carl Borg, he is on the Project Connect planning team. He had to kind of dive in right away as Kirsten Jewell had stepped out earlier this year. He's helping us connect to grant opportunities. He's keeping us informed about community-led housing projects. And he's trying to help us as a coalition navigate more sustainable financial structures to support our work in the future. So I just wanted to share that update. So you'll like notice a little shift in meetings in January. And then further, like we're not meeting in December, but we do intend to have awards. We always try to recognize the good work of the coalition members. Because we had so much inclement weather issues last year, we're tabling that until March of 2024. And we're hoping that at Project Connect, where many of us will be, to solicit nominations for coalition awardees. There's so much good work here. Please do share and celebrate the good work of the people who attend this meeting and serve the larger Kitsap community with housing and homelessness. Is there anything else, exec team, that I should share on behalf of coalition updates, or did I cover it all?
I just wanted to say thank you, and I look forward to the future next year, I guess in January. But I know, Lisa, you're going to be here to guide us as long as you can and be on the executive team. So Lisa will still be here, but I appreciate the welcome. And yes, I've been on here since 2021, and I recall having very brief meetings, even though it was scheduled for 2 hours. They were very brief at one point. And to our benefit, we have filled these meetings with such great information. We've had our most participation, and that's all due to Lisa. Lisa has, I say, she's kept that candle lit, but it's burning bright, and I want to make sure to live up to that structure she's built. There's a lot of change during COVID, and so we have a lot of improvement, but I'm excited about this group, and I hope it stays strong, and I will work to make that happen.
Thank you so much, Katie. And just all around celebration, everyone. I think it's important where people, again, like if you can give a cheer, give a thumbs up, like it's a lot of like work of the heart. This is like extra for many of us. So just appreciate this team going forward. All right, you guys, and Katie's right. Our meetings are longer. You're welcome. That's from the whole team. But we still have time for agency updates, including any winter resources, holiday donation drives that you might be aware of, events for kids and family. You can do this in chat. You can do it verbally. If you would like to share verbally, then please just raise your hand and I will call on you. So it looks like Stephanie is ready to go. Stephanie, you have the floor.
Oh, thank you so much. I am just following up from the statement that I made last month about offering a roundtable for grant opportunities for homelessness and kind of looking at what that looks like on a federal level. So we do have a date. I was hoping that I could get one email address. If you have the ability to send it out to everybody that's on the meeting, is there somebody that can do that? Or do I need to collect everybody's emails individually? What's easiest?
Katie, what do you think would be the best in terms of communicating that?
So yeah, we have a large email list. I think it has 470 people on it now. So if we can get information out, if that's helpful.
Okay, perfect. And then here, I'll throw my email in here as well. I'll do it after I'm finished talking so that I don't mistype. But you can all save the date for it. It will be a virtual meeting, but it'll be December 12th at 11 a.m. And so our grants coordinator will be on that call as well. We are opening it up to the surrounding counties that are in the 6th district, just so we can provide out as much grant information as possible around homelessness. So if you have any very specific questions, again, I'll throw my email in the chat. You can send those. I probably won't have answers yet, but we'll at least be able to address them at that meeting. So thank you.
Thanks, Stephanie. Madison, you're up next.
Hi, my name is Madison. I'm the housing program manager with Kitsap Homes of Compassion. We're having an exciting time right now. We're hoping to open 2 more homes before the end of the year, which is really great. we're having a open house toiletries drive like we did earlier in the year again in December, on December 12th, from 4 to 6 p.m. at our offices in downtown Bremerton. So if you want to stop by, we'd love to see you and say thanks for your support. I'll put our email subscription link in the chat. So if you want to subscribe to our emails, then you'll get more information like that. And I'll put my email in the chat if you have any questions directly for me. So thank you.
Thanks, Madison. Garrett from the city of Bremerton, your turn.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I know there's a lot of people waiting, so I'll try to make this quick. But that I'm here to talk about our comp plan update. I know the focus of this meeting is on shelters as kind of a triage option for homelessness, but the long-term answer is increasing our housing production. Bremerton, Silverdale, Port Orchard area ranks 107th nationally in the underproduction of housing, and a lack of housing stock has been linked to increased homelessness. One aspect of our comprehensive plan update is to loosen housing regulations in the city of Bremerton. I encourage everyone to get on the record by providing a comment to our comp plan update with your perspective on increasing housing options. Thank you to Kitsap Housing and Homelessness Coalition for having space on your webpage advertising our comp plan, and I have some links available in the chat.
Thank you, Garrett. I have just an update regarding the downtown Bremerton location of the Kitsap Regional Library. As many of you know, it's been closed since mid-July to install an HVAC system. It's a very important investment. We often had to close our doors due to either high heat or very cold temperatures because our furnace broke this past winter. We are getting ready to reopen, and I mention this because the downtown Bremerton location is also serving as a day shelter for many unsheltered folks. But we're hoping to reopen Monday, December 11th, pending some final permitting and inspection that the city is running, who owns the building, the city of Bremerton. But we're so excited to reopen and just be aware that that is coming around the corner soon. Any other things to share with this group?
I don't know if it was mentioned. I think I put it in the chat, but with Project Connect, we would love some donation drives at your organization if you're already planning to do one. I know Katie Knudsen and Joe Walters, they're heading that part of the Project Connect to make sure we get everything we need, because we're going to provide supplies at Project Connect. So donation drives would help us supplement our supplies. But please email us if you want to host a drive. We want to provide some outreach materials for you. We don't have them just yet, but that is one of our goals, to make sure that if you want to host a drive, you can put up a sign, you know where to take it. We have storage. So I want to make sure that during the winter, December would be a great time to host a drive and to benefit Project Connect and provide resources to our most in need. So.
Thank you, Katie. Thanks for remembering all the things about Project Connect that I am not recalling. Again, we'll be sharing information like via the newsletter, via the website. There's lots of good planning that is taking place regarding Project Connect. And mark your calendars for sure. Okay, folks. Well, thank you for hanging in there. It was Maria. Sorry, I almost missed you.
That's okay. I had a quick question for Katie. Is there a list of items that you are needed the most for Project Connect?
We have a list. We just don't have it right this second. I think there is a list, and we are gathering that. And I know that would be really helpful for everyone. So that we are going to put that out as soon as possible. For now, really any resources, any supplies that you think are in need, please collect those. But anyway, we'll get more information out. But thank you for asking, Maria.
Okay, I wish you all well. Have a wonderful December. Again, you can always email us at the admin at Kitsap HHC. We can try and answer questions as they occur, and you will be learning a lot about Project Connect. Happy winter months, holidays. Thank you all for being here and making time for it today.
Thank you so much.
That's for you, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa, for everything.
Thanks, Marwan. Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say hi. I'm sorry. I had jumped out and I was trying to work with some clients and stuff. I guess
Oh,
my
no.
camera is not working here.
Oh, that's okay, Eric.
Well, there I am.
No, it is. I was gonna say I did receive your message.
You did.